Hi there. It's Dr. Rich. I'm hanging out at home with Crystal. She's on the bed. And just here to talk to you today about an elaborate conspiracy in which I'm utterly famous, I know, right? And that there's a systemic, conscious, long-standing government persecution to kill me. And it already killed me, and that was covered up. So bear with me while I please explain, just by introducing you to the idea that there's got to be an outcome for this. I'm a marginalised person. I've got no help. I've got no doctor. I've got no healthcare. I've got no support. I've got no insurance, or have got insurance, but they didn't pay. I've got work cover, but they didn't pay. I'm cooked by systemically every local, state and government agency, from Dan Andrews to Greg Hunt personally, and Michaela Cash, the Attorney General. I know, right? So it's it's hard to explain the enormity of this. See, I was hospitalised because I was damned for having persecutions of grandiose delusions of persecution. However, when they released me from hospital after I tried to kill myself, which was deemed fatal and a fatal injury, and it was a lethal attempt, you don't get much closer to death than that. I was lucky I was found, otherwise I would be dead. Now, I'm a bit lighthearted about that, but there is a cover-up about that death by the government, and I know that there is a movement to maim me and aid and abet my death by enlarging the space in which it's so desperate I'm going to kill myself, because I've tried to top myself a couple of times before, and they're attacking me via proxy. So by that I mean they're just getting agencies to systemically oppress, reject, delay, deny, rob me of any prosperity, ruin my business, aid and abet my death, and encourage the space that may happen in. So I'm not going to die, but I need your help, because I am a conscious person of ethics, and I do believe that this heinous conspiracy to pervert the course of justice, which is absolutely illegal, and the vile victimation and desecration is against this country's principles, and that libel and slander are also against the law. And I've called out many people in this conspiracy who are, for want of a better word, they're deep in shit if I stay alive. So I don't need much to live. Money's not my currency. I don't need much to live. I need some supporters though, because there's three ways that this happens. So I've already asked the Attorney General for a peace deal, and she denied me, and I'm going to be absolutely freaking cooked. The other one is that I make an amazing recovery with zero memory, and I can't feel my feet, and I'm still on sick leave from work cover, but that didn't ever pay out. So I've actually lived for a whole year on about $300 a week. So it's been a difficult year, but further to that, I was hospitalised again. It's a drama, I know. The SWAT team came and locked me up. Oh, I forgot what I was saying. See, that's the trouble. I can't remember my thoughts from one point to the next, but I know actually what's happened to me, because I've got records of it. So option one is I make a plea deal with the Attorney General. She knocked it back. And I'll read the letter in a minute. It's pretty incredible. And two is that I'll win the lottery or something. Or C is that I take the government to account by myself as a individual person of my own country who's acting alone with his agency, and acknowledges with the Federal Circuit Court or the Supreme Court of Australia that this is this heinous, malicious, conscious, systemic abuse of power, and the incredible vertigo of the battle that I've been facing for years and years and years is it gives you a bloody vertigo. I can't even believe this is happening sometimes. But anyway, I want to take the government to account. Now, I need your support. You can go to the website killhim.info, because I actually have been killed via the systemic persecution and oppression that has already existed for years and years. That's framed by a couple of Genesis points, which I'll go into. But yeah, bear with me. Here's the letter that I sent to Michaelia Cash. Hang on, I'll just bring it up. So the Michaelia Cash, if you don't know, is the Attorney General. She's the woman with a whole lot of portfolios under her, which are incredibly relevant to me because I've been rolled from each one of them in my pursuit of justice and equality and fairness before the law. So, I reverse engineered my way up from the bottom. It did kill me, but I survived. I was lucky I was found. I am alive. I can't remember much. But here's the letter. Dear Ms. Cash, for now I'll just be Dr. Rich, but I'm fairly sure you're expecting me. Next week, I face the Administrative Appeals Tribunal regarding defending my work cover rejection from Comcare, the federal insurer, as an employee of the NDIAS, in which I ran my business for over 2.5 years. It is utterly, inequitably set up for me to fail. I know this because I have worked my way up from the bottom with different systemic local, state and federal government agencies, and I have failed to get traction along the whole way, and I have actually suffered a fatality in which I accidentally was found and revived, and further to that was utterly desecrated in my business, my reputation, and even hospitalised again, threatened to be a ward of the state, and I absolutely and consciously remember explaining to the CAT team at the door, of which I have evidence, that it was a conspiracy to pervert the course of justice, in which I flippantly said I might as well top myself. But of course, they weren't interested in my justice. They were interested in locking me up. So I keep going. I have no litigation or representative at the AAT or with Comcare or ever. And the fight has such inequity and imbalance, the vertigo of this brutal assault from the government makes me dizzy. And the government, having already killed me, has a lawyer to bury me. So I'm dust, you know. I've found out that I'm banned from legal services in the Victorian legal aid arena through the State Law Society. I'm banned from Victoria Legal Centre, VLC, and I can't get justice through Justice Connect, and the local centre, West Justice, refuses to acknowledge me. So does the Mental Health Complaints Commissioner, so does the Mental Health Complaints Commissioner, and I can't get traction at VCAT, even with some help from the Disability Liaison Officer, who funnily says she can't help me. The Disability Discrimination Legal Centre knifed me, and I've had complaints before, numerous ones, that I've taken to the Health Complaints Commissioner, which have been innocuous to ACT, and the Mental Health Complaints Commissioner, after my forced suicide, which could have been called a conspiracy to murder, at the Mental Health Complaints Commissioner, who I found, the advocate there was delaying and deferring the result of my complaint to the hospital, who had actually blacklisted me, and she acted as a double agent in favour of the hospital. Now, all of these agencies have amazing banks of lawyers, and I'm just by myself, just trying to fight a one-horse town. Anyway, so, and also I mentioned to her that I made a complaint about a GP, a valid one, and I went to the Health Complaints Commissioner. They didn't help. I tried to protect the GP because I thought he might get in trouble, but I didn't know until after I was found post-death by accident and had survived, and then was rejected as a vagrant squatting, that the doctor's lawyer through ARPA had framed me as an extortionist in order to make money from the complaint, which is a heinous load of shit because money is not my currency, ethics is. And at the same time, he accused me of that, which I didn't know of. Someone gave me $100,000, and the guy who gave me the $100,000 was where my former partner and I had a house, and he said, "Yeah, your boyfriend's you've done the dirty on your own. I've seen all your work with mental health. I want to help you." And he was quite compassionate, so he gifted me $100,000. But then he actually said, "Oh, it's a mistake. I was in the psych ward," and he got onto a lawyer, and the lawyer must have told him, "Tell him the voices told you to do it," because they Googled my public profile. So, as a mental health campaigner and recovery expert of 25 years, so he messaged me and said, "I need the money back because the voices told me to do it." So I gave the $100,000 back. So anyway, that was funny. So after ARPA, there was NHP OPC who investigate ARPA, and then there was the police. They investigated it, but they rejected it. And then the police didn't do anything, and I could clearly see the evidence was malpractice and negligence. So I went to the police, and the police didn't do anything. And then I went to IBAC and reported the police, and they didn't do anything. And the Victorian Inspectorate about IBAC, they didn't do anything. And nowadays, like very many moons on from all that effort, in which the can was kind of kicked down the road for so long and put me at great risk of suicide, because I was suicidal, and that was the reason why I made the complaint in the first place, was because I overdosed, and I said that I was going to kill myself, and he gave me the script in the same consultation. So anyway, I go on to the letter. This systemic oppression is a standoff, and I was left to die, to be identified, victimised, vilified, and publicly humiliated. This led to my own fatality, a forced suicide that was the result of conscious, systemic, malicious oppression from local, state and federal government authorities and statutory authorities. The Victorian Ombudsman condoned my suicide in hospital for a suicide attempt in a psychiatric ward where I was desecrated, violated, treated with malpractice, misdiagnosed, filled up with drugs I didn't need, and you accused me of psychotic delusions of persecution. The delusions, in actual fact, after I survived my suicide attempt only by chance, and I was left squatting from the hospital, as I have been since, and that was in March 2021, the delusions were actually factual. It was stated in the exit notes that I was no way psychotic and no way delusional, hinting at a diagnosis of adjustment disorder, which is, and they had to name it something to justify me being in there. But asked Dr. Lagrasso that, but it was actually fully detailed that that these sexual abuse issues where I was the victim were going on, family issues, former partner justice issues, all that kind of stuff. It was all absolutely real. ASIO were involved. It reads like a spy novel. So I go on to the Michaela Cash, the Attorney General. After killing myself, which was a local, state and government conscious, malicious, systemic oppression, which was more or less a conspiracy to manslaughter, the hospital released me unethically, abandoning duty of care, with no follow-up, and left to die. And I say that because they're supposed to care for a suicidal patient when you left hospital, but I was left squatting with no money, no job, no car, no food, and no support. I actually saw a psychiatrist twice in the next whole 11 months. And the second time was to kick me off the system. So anyway, the Australian government, after that, because I had been on the disability pension before for other reasons for a while, before my relationship with former partner, and even though the Australian government witnessed me and knew of the hospital incarceration, in which I was locked away illegally and forced to basically top myself because I was so left alone and I felt so bereft and I was so confused and and hurt. Like, the Australian government then, as a bit of a kick in the teeth, put me on job seeker. And that was a malicious way that suits the mandate to oppress me. And that is to make life so hard for me that I kill myself and aid and abet the chance to kill myself before I receive validation or compensation. I do not need the number for Lifeline, I told Michaelia Cash though. I need a comrade within the government or at the top who can address this injustice and stop the persecution and victimisation, which includes death threats at my door. Yep, they're threatening to kill me. So anyway, I go on to it. Further to the hospital releasing me unethically and abandoning duty of care, which was abandoned in the hospital anyway, I was squatting. I was still off work with no job, no car, no money, and no food. I was to be cared for by the local government health service, but the health service rejected me, seeing me in a professional capacity only twice in 1 year, and further denied me necessary medication I needed, and I still have no reliable source for. So it's kind of a year on since I had my suicide attempt. I've noticed very consciously I'm reading all this is why I can speak well, but my thought disorder is really bad. And I've researched that when you lose all your blood, the toxins destroy the hippocampus and your memory's fucked. Apart from the fact that I can't feel my feet, and I have no doctor, can't go to the police, have no healthcare, have no food, have no money, and can't go to any agency, including the police, federal police, or any complaint body, and I can't be a whistleblower. So that's the kind of why I need help from the public to take on the government, because this is really, really unethical. So the oppression was factual and actual, and I can easily demonstrate it. And I do. It's on the website killim.info. I go one meeting with a psychiatrist was 4 months after my release from hospital and was pitiful. And the second one was 11 months later to kick me off the service. I go, this is a government methodology to frame me, blame me, shame me, and simply ostracise, exclude and neglect me with pointed intention in order to delay and deflect any justice and risk my wellness until I become so destitute I predictably will kill myself. I can't see any way else this is happening. I'll read out the list of agents in a minute that are right onto me. So I said to her, there is loggerheads on some justice issues from the past that, right or wrong, I've proven it. The malicious and pointed movement exploits already existing societal prejudices and stigmas to desecrate me, rob me, and sadly aid and abet my death via pointed violence of neglect and attack via proxy in place of justice. And I just happen to mention victimisation is illegal, slander and libel is illegal, and conspiracy to pervert the course of justice is illegal. That is in the government legislative agencies, and there is 100 other crimes I could say that have happened. So I go on. Further, it's a malicious movement to not only just innocuously ignore me, but pointedly and individually oppress me, in that I will come to great harm or kill myself or be a vagrant before being bereft of prosperity and my family and friends all but gone. That's already occurred. I go, but that suicide has been covered up. I asked the hospital for a conciliation, a meagre acknowledgement that it had happened in relation to the systemic oppression that led me there. They didn't do it. And the hospital CEO, Dave Stevenson, hi Dave, was so delighted that the Health Complaints Commissioner and the Office of the Australian Information Commissioner and the Mental Health Complaints Commissioner, Commissioner Jennings, hi Commissioner Jennings, and the Ombudsman, hi Ben Calder, in the government saw absolutely nothing wrong with me dying in a hospital and then being found. I mean, sure enough, I did it, but it was from years of oppression, which I can prove. So Dave Stevenson, the CEO from the hospital, was so delighted that he knows that I cannot go to the police. I have tried many times to go to the police. and that I can't go to any government agency, and that also I've been rejected as a whistleblower from IBAC, from ASIC, from APRA, and from the Australian Ombudsman, that I am absolutely voiceless and powerless. And Dave Stevison was so delighted with his position of privilege that he dared me to sue him directly and personally for the injustice that happened in the hospital, which was the abandonment of duty of care, for starters. I mean, I went in there to stop dying, and I did die. And I can't say that I did die because I'm alive, but I'm alive with injuries, and I'm alive with complex PTSD from the abuse and the event. And further than that, I've been absolutely desecrated because then my business was consciously, maliciously destroyed. That business was going for 25 years and they destroyed it. Anyway, so I just go on to Michaela Cash's letter. I've never had a representative, lawyer or advocate, but I've been an advocate for over 25 years in altruism to help other people who suffer, who are more marginalised than myself. And I go on. This is where it gets tricky. My former partner is an ASIO agent, or was, and I've already spoken with AGIS, who's the mob that investigate ASIO, about his crimes that may be a probable genesis point from where this persecution originates. Because he owes me for exploiting me financially in coercion and sexually in coercion and leaving me homeless after the end of a 5-year relationship in which he worked for ASIO, earning like 200 to 400 grand a year, and I was on a disability pension, which he insisted because he said we couldn't get married. So anyway, that's the whole thing. So that there's a bit of a issue there. I am actually a really multi-millionaire. I just waiting for the day. So the Victorian and Commonwealth Ombudsman have rejected my whistleblower status. AFCA also refused me. Oh, there's another agency too. AFCA, the Australian Financial Complaints Authority, has blackmailed me over 2.5 years ago for holding on to cases that are well overdue for determination, that is over $2 million, potential $2 million in value, which would have easily saved my vagrancy and my then distress and hospitalisation and the crimes of poverty and oppression that came afterwards. I'd be just a happy man, But it's the conspiracy between HDF, my insurer, and AFCA and another dozen agencies who are all pining that I die, really does get you after a while, and it is a conspiracy to pervert the course of justice. Like, they're not allowed to do it. There's laws that they have to do it in a certain time, and now AFCA won't even. They'll say they'll cancel all my cases if I do so much as email them, because you know why? They called me conspiratorial. This is a crime projected onto me via agencies and organisations via proxy attack from sources I can only fathom the colour and shape of. And by that I mean that I can see this is happening for me. When I try and explain it to someone else, they think I'm paranoid, but that's already been ruled out by a psychiatrist in a hospital over a death, that it is actually real. The source of this thing is blacker than death, because not only have I already died, but that wasn't enough. They're further desecrating me, and they're doing so with impunity from the law, and they're doing so with the Attorney General, Michaela Cash, utterly and outright rejecting all of this letter and responding innocuously and then discriminatorily giving me the number for the SANE helpline. I said specifically I don't want the SANE helpline number. So this, I go on to the letter. This pointed and willful framing and maiming of me will kill me, and already has. Well, hopefully it doesn't kill me and the hitman doesn't come in the door. So I said to her, I demand whistleblower protections, please. I was threatened by a thug the other week. He would kill me at my window in a vitriol that shocked me. And that's true. They come to the window. They know where I live. I have agents. I have people following me. I have my computer's hacked. You wouldn't believe it. So the police are somehow powerless to act. I've tried many times to try and report crimes and get justice. And I have reported that on my whistleblower site, killhim.info, where I, in much frustration, tell police after police all these injustices have happened with nothing happened. And then I report to IBAC, who investigate the police, and they say that nothing's been done wrong, and they also reject my whistleblower status, rendering me an innocuous refugee in my own democracy. So, having been killed already, then my 20-year online website and business, richmclean.com.au, which was also my ABN, was intentionally desecrated and destroyed, and all the backups, websites and emails intentionally destroyed by Micron21, a company who has connections, wouldn't you believe it, to the government. And they knew that I was getting close with my evidence, so they wanted to destroy it and destroy me. And that's what they want to do, destroy me. In those emails, there were memories of loved ones who have passed. And really, if you can think about it, my digital identity, rich@richmclean.com.au, is my website address. I use that for banking. I use it for the government. I use it for everything I log into. I haven't been able to reset a password. I haven't been able to log into anything. I've lost all my emails, all my contacts, my whole business. No one can contact professionally. I have lost all my patient records, and I can't actually do my audit for the NDIS in which I want to go back to work. So it really has, with impunity, absolutely desecrated me. And it's also my intellectual property. There are laws around this, but it was intentionally desecrated, is all I can say. They're out to ruin me. Now, I did complain. Obviously, you just go to a lawyer, but the lawyer I had was cooked. So bad. Not an agency cares. Now, I don't know how badly I've been framed. I've been called a pedo, a rapist, a dog fucker, an extortionist. The list goes on. There is some really nasty words going on around me. I don't know how they get rid of people, but they do. So with this business thing, I went to just business.gov.au. I said, they've destroyed my business. And they kicked me along to the other business, business.gov.au. And they kicked me along to the Small Business and Family Business Ombudsman. They didn't care. And they kicked me onto the telecommunications industry. They didn't care. So actually, no one cares that poor Rich McLean has been killed and desecrated and kicked the can down the road so bad that he actually has been living on about $350 a week for an entire year. And that's been my life. That's probably why I haven't heard from me. So I go on in the letter. I can only summarise my position that there needs to be a truce. So I offer the government a truce. I don't want anyone jailed. I don't want to cause trouble or waves. I am a kind man. I will forgive everyone. That's what I offered the Attorney General Michaela Cash in terms of this very infamous case in which everyone knows about. I just said to her, I need a simple life away from persecution with my pet dog, Crystal. I don't even want money, although that will be a legal part of conciliatory progress. Any extra that is the result of litigation, I will create a foundation to support vulnerable people as I have done with my time and passion for over 25 years. I said to her, I've got a Human Rights Award and Sane's Book of the Year, and I work hard on my exploration of knowledge, getting a PhD, and I've run my own business. I'm a citizen of this country, a person with a public profile, and I have always given back by altruism and always given my time. And then I just contrasted it and I go, I'm utterly isolated. I have no one left. I welcome your intervention so I may be granted whistleblower protection before I am killed or rendered an intelligently designated and designed suicide via oppression. I commit to you now, I'm not killing myself. But if I end up a vagrant and right now I have no doctor, no food, I'd love a bloody cider. I have no one looking after me from the mental health centre. I haven't got a psychologist. I haven't got a psychiatrist. I haven't got a neurologist. I can't really think. I can't remember anything. I haven't got a lawyer. I'm banned from that. I'm banned from the police. I'm banned from being a whistleblower. Ban, bun, 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 bun. So I said to her, I wish to have healthcare as I don't have medication. Yeah, I don't have medication. And I haven't been treated for my maimed brain from, I think, what is a permanent ABI, acquired brain injury, from the blood loss of the suicide when I was found with no pulse unresponsive. And for any prior marginalisation that I've been through. I said to her, I'm alive and simply gentle and kind. I don't need much, but I deserve a fair go. It's abhorrent that this has been allowed to fester, and some days I get up and I can't even believe it, and I struggle to even explain it or validate it to myself. And freedom from oppression and litigation or jail. I said to her, I just want freedom from oppression. I would like some litigation or a lawyer. I think what is going to happen now, though, they're going to set me up to be jailed. And I've already been threatened in the psych ward that I can be made an award of the state for being crazy. And they're threatening me with that. And if I don't go public now, that's what's going to happen to me. So I said, you cannot witness this violence of neglect in which I become the most famous, maimed vagrant this country's ever seen. Okay, before that though, I'll go public and attempt and hope to succeed in challenging the government. If you can condone this simply provable systemic oppression that has set me up to fail for many years and still does, you are condoning the methodology that has already killed me. You are also allowing passage for my victimisation and my persecution and vagrancy, death threats, imminent murder, and persistent death threats at the door. It is the sum of systemic, neglectful government oppression that has led to my infamy, my now post-death and maimed brain, the desecration of me in all currencies. It has rendered me a voiceless, infamous refugee, an ostracised and an already deleted member of the Australian democracy with no agency for defence or litigation except the decades-long synopsis of this letter email. Please have some compassion and kindness. And if you can't be kind, please don't hurt me. And if you ignore this, that may well kill me, and I don't want to die. Please pay attention to it and follow up with me ASAP with compassion and forgiveness, Dr. Rich. There's my conspiracy. I'm going to read out her reply in a minute. Okay. It gets pretty hectic.